Hello, I'm
Menoth John.
and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your
miniatures
and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. You start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice. There are no limits.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is Sunday night, and it is 7 o'clock. That means it's time for your Sunday Night Extravaganza. Dare say I call it your Sunday Night Addiction. This is the Painting with Menoth John show. We bring it to you every Sunday night, whether you want it or not. Literally. It's March Madness. That means there's sports balls going on. I think my Badgers are playing tonight. And go Badgers. I probably just cursed them to lose just by doing that. It is an amazing Sunday. That means that this is the Sunday of Adepticon. It's one of the biggest shows in the nation. It used to be the biggest show for that game that shall not be named. You know, I don't even know why we call it that, John. And I'm not. We'll get right here. Of course, I've got with me the co-host with the host, Mr. John Spencer. Say hello to the Brushies.
Hey, Brushheads.
We are guestless tonight, John. It's just the dulcet tones of the two Johns.
Mm-hmm.
So don't expect any privateer press folks showing up or, you know, maybe advanced maneuvers or anything like that. As far as the Brushies are concerned, if we could see in the chat room if you like this new camera angle better or worse than the old one. I think it makes me look like I've got more chins than a Chinese phone book. So I'm a little worried about it.
That's a lot of chins.
That's a lot of chins. I'm not sure if I am totally down with it as I look at it over here. You know, looking at myself, John, in the camera is one of my favorite things to do.
Well, I finally got it to load up here. It actually looks fine.
Okay. As you can see back here in the corner, we have the very stylish lamp that is part of the work area back there. You can see a fair number of board games in the back, some of which I've played. Yeah, you know, Forsaken Pop-Tart says it is a bit focuses too much on the mic. I can understand that. So we might go back to the old one, the old version, it does take a little bit of screwing around here. So I'm not going to play around with it. So y'all stuck with this suboptimal camera angle for tonight's show, but we'll go back to the sky cam next time. Beverage update, sir. Mr. John Spencer, what are you having for the beverage tonight?
Same as always. Dr. Pepper and cherry whiskey and a shot of Kraken.
Nice. I am foregoing the Kraken this evening in the name of two women. This is two women from the New Glarus Brewing Company. And it is super sweet, and it's wonderful. It is nowhere near the awesome that is Three Philosophers. However, I did have one of those this weekend, John.
Sweet.
Was delightful, I'll tell you what. And Belinda Librarian had an opportunity to try it, and she found it to be quite strong and lovely at the same time. So on behalf of all of the Brushheads who are out there and all the awesome people I saw at Adepticon, hey, Ron!
Ron!
Oh, that was just lovely. Well, we had another fantastic... How was your week this week, John?
It was good.
Cool. Do anything fun or exciting?
Some Infinity games, got a Warmachine game or two in. Watch some movies, you know. It was pretty standard.
You mean stuff we might talk about here on the show?
Exactly.
That's fantastic. You know, that's a sign of a professional podcast, is it when we can... That's called foreshadowing, and that is a literary technique, and that makes us sound significantly smarter than what we actually really are. So... You know, John, we've gotten past the beverage update, and we've announced that we just don't have any guests whatsoever. But we should probably pay the bills and keep the lights on, and that means only one thing, John.
Oh, yes. It does. Spokesmodel time.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Fresh off of her recent win at the Adepticon just down the street, ladies and gentlemen, for Discount Games Incorporated and Greenleaf Terrain, ladies and gentlemen, Calandra, the fat gypsy chick of trolls. What you talking about, Menoth John? I'm just big boned, and if you don't like it, just remember, all about the bass, about the bass, about the bass. No Crixies. Ha 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 ha. I beat Crix because I'm trolls, and Crix is Crix. Ah ha 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 ha. Yes, I am the favorite caster of Jay Larson, who is from Discount Games Incorporated. Now, Discount Games Incorporated pays Menoth John sort of gives him a discount for all his models, but he'll give you a discount too. That's like, I don't know, 20% or more off that list price, and you can go and get that. And if you spend $50 of models that will kill Crix dead, then you get the free shipping. Now, if you buy Crix, you'll still get as long as you spend $50, you'll still get the free shipping, but it will not be as satisfying because it is Crix. So, I just wanted to come on here today and say that Jay couldn't have done it without me, Calandra, and if you don't want the bad voodoo or the hoodoo or the whatever you do, you better get over there, and if you don't want your table to suck, then get over to Greenleaf Terrain. He's in Canada, and Canada has trees, and trees make good terrain. So if you like trees and like Canada and like terrain, then you should stop by at Greenleaf Terrain. Just Google it. I'm sure that porn won't come up. It'll probably be the right site. And look for Adam's stuff, because Adam makes totally legit terrain in Canada that looks like trees. And he uses the natural habitat of Canada as a backdrop, which is like, there might have been beer, or possibly maple donuts, or perhaps a Tim Hortons terrain. But you'd have to order that special. So, I'm Calandra, and I'm the best in the world. And if you play me with lots of elemental trolls, they're cheap. So, get over there to Discount Games Incorporated. Ah! There you go. Thank you very much there, Calandra. Really appreciate you being on the show. You know, that was fantastic. Calandra won the Masters, which was super sweet. And I think the way that it ended was amazing. Jay had a troll pick a two-hand throw a Bane Knight into Scar, knocking her down, and then she got shot to death by a Slag Troll. Yay!
Super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it is www.greenleafterrain.com.
That would be the best way to find his site without ending up at a porn site.
Indeed.
I'm afraid if you, it's like so many things on the internet. I think if you Google just Greenleaf, who knows what's going to have? It's probably like Rule 34 Poison Ivy stuff is going to show up.
Well, if you do Greenleaf Terrain, it is the first one you get that comes up. So.
That's good. That's good. Whew. That's good news. So,
all right.
We should mention, John, the contest. Why don't you walk our brush heads through the contest?
Yeah, so we want your best or favoritist hardcore casual scenario. Mm-hmm. Just write it up however you want to write it up. Doesn't have to be all super PDFs cool. You can text file it, however you want to do it. Just try and keep it somewhat clear so we can read it and understand it. And just email it to pwmenothjohn@gmail.com, and we'll take a look. What we figure is the best or most funnest. Yes, that's a word, most funnest.
Totally a word now.
Yep, we're going to give you your choice of Warcaster or Warlock that's not huge based. Mm-hmm. Thanks to Drop Zone Games. We'll be shipping it out from here. And there you go. You got till the end of March to get those in, and then we'll probably announce it on the next show. And then also, if you want, we'll let you come on the show, too, to talk about it.
Absolutely. That's part of the deal. I mean, you don't have to, but if you would like to, we would love to have you come on here and kind of give us your thoughts on it and tell us the best way to run it, and that would be super sweet. So there you go, folks. That is our contest, and that will be ending in a very short 8 days. which would be like 6 days from the time that this drops on Muson Minis. So, oh, that's right. God, I'm going out of town this week, so I got to make sure I get the damn show edited tonight. That's really relaxing. Okay, so there you go. Hey.
And then Brushed Gallery.
Yep, we got Brushed Gallery coming up. Also, end of the month. Yep. Get your submissions in. We should probably do that for the next episode, don't you think, John?
Well, we should do it for this. It'd be the same episode theoretically that we announced the winner, because we usually do the first one in the new quarter.
Yep, absolutely.
And then we also need to think about, I forgot to mention this before, we need to think about a movie club movie.
Oh, God, yeah. We haven't thought about that. So if it needs to be on Amazon Prime. So if anyone has any suggestions for a movie for the movie club, let's feel free to drop those off on the Painting with Menoth John Facebook site. That would be a totally legit place to put it. And also don't forget that if you would like to be a supporter of the show, we're up to 21 patrons. Pretty excited about that.
Super sweet.
And so there's your address right there. Join the folks if you want. If this is a material that you enjoy consuming and would like to continue to support the show moving forward, we can. The more we get supporting, the better the prizes we can offer and the more contests we can run. And it does help keep the lights on as far as the internet hosting and all that kind of good stuff. So anyhow, I'm going to switch over to the painting cam as I am wont to do. And
Roger.
I want to show off a few of the interesting things that I was very fortunate to get my hands on while I was at Adepticon this week. And one of them was from Games and Gears, this lovely file set. And they provided that to me. And it's the files are pretty big, so I'm interested to see how they work. I know on my usual files that I use are these little pin files. And I'll put them up to show you the difference in size. Like these are the ones that I normally use that are quite a bit smaller. But for a larger model, like a huge base model or resin type thing, I think these would work really, really well. They've got a grippy rubber base on them and stuff like that. So that was courtesy of Games and Gears. And they also hooked me up with a set of their extreme katanas that they had. The Adepticon Extreme Brush, size 0, and the Extreme Base Coat, and the Extreme Katana. I might actually run these as a contest prize at some point, so we'll see what goes next, because I have quite a few brushes right now, and I think it'd be neat, and I do have a katana brush as well. The thing that makes the katana brush special is that it actually has like a gel rubber end to it. I don't know if you can pick that up on the camera terribly well, but it's very flexible, and so you can put your paint on it, and it makes for doing freehand work very, very easily. Tadgo, yes, the files are diamond files, so they'll work out really, really well. Probably throw those into the prize vault and pass those on. They're very limited edition, very exclusive, so we'll have to come up with a good contest for those, John.
I'll take a look at getting one of those katana ones. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and Lonely Monk, who works for Games and Gears now, was showing me. He was giving me some tips on how to use it. So I think in an upcoming special or an upcoming episode, I'll do some freehand work. I've got That's
cool. We've got a question about that in Flippity Bloops from a week or two ago.
Yep. And what I'll do is I will prioritize getting my Sorcerer primed, and I'll do some freehand work on the scroll with it. So I've played around with it a little bit. I've got some more work to do with it to figure out exactly how to make it best, but after the kind of stuff that Craig was telling me about to help optimize it, he said you want to use a thinner paint, almost like the consistency that's used for an airbrush, so kind of thin down to that milk kind of consistency. And then he also mentioned that the more vertical you hold it, the thinner the line, and then as you tilt it down, you'll end up with a broader line. And then the other thing that he mentioned is, as you use it, you want to kind of almost turn it a little bit in your hand. I don't know if you can see that action that I'm giving here in the camera, but you want to turn it a little bit to rotate it to keep the paint flowing on it. So very interested, very, very interested.
Okay. And they all make sense.
Yep. And then Charlie Foster, who's with PEP, is in the chat room right now. Good to see you, Charlie Foster. Yep. And looking forward to seeing him in Seattle next week when I'm out there. So, So that was kind of the haul. Also, patron of the show and super cool guy, Arcadan, also gave me a. I had gotten the Rivet Wars dice tower that was part of the Kickstarter, and there were a few issues with it, but he passed this on to me. This is a new and improved dice tower that he's come up with that solves the problems. Now I'm looking at this with all the little punch-outs and stuff, and I sure hope there's an instruction manual in here somewhere, because I'm gonna want to kill myself otherwise. There's a lot of parts in this thing.
Okay, I don't like to come with instructions, but usually once you figure them out, just take your time. They'll be fine.
Yeah. So we're gonna put the files away. Well, actually, I'm gonna keep the files out. I'm gonna keep the files out because I'm gonna be doing some assembling today. I've got a Santarin from the Doctor Who miniatures line that I'm gonna be working on. I got that when I was in London. As you can see, it cost me 3.99 pounds. I think that's metric money. And I'm not sure what the conversion rate between metric dollars and this L backwards L with, it looks like more like an F. So I think that means it means FU America. It's metric money. And then I've also got down here from Brushhead Chris Marshall a very special limited edition model, which is a headless horseman carrying an axe. So that's they're all one-piece models, so they're gonna go really fast. But I thought that'd be a fun thing to put together on the show.
Cool.
Cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. Let's talk a little bit about Adepticon, John.
All right.
Now, Adepticon, as most of you are aware, is a 4-day con now, and I think we need to stop all this 4-day con stuff. To be honest with you, because I understand why people are doing it, but it's really hard on getting people to be able to come to them and stuff like that. And
I think mini rant time. I think what people need to do is we need to find some people to step up and make more 3-day cons and spread them out a little more, so that we don't have to have as many 4 days. So people can go like, why don't we need to go to Adepticon? Because I can go to Kingdom Con, or we're in California Con because it's closer to them. And this goes that it'll free up, because from what I understand, a lot of those cons are getting kind of packed.
Yeah, they are. And what's funny about this is Adepticon this year moved to a new venue as well. They had been out in it was in
Schaumburg?
No, it's in Schaumburg this year. It was in
Rosemont?
No. God damn it. Over by Naperville. Yeah,
Okay.
Insert silly name, but it was a Westin, and then they moved to this new Renaissance. And I'll be honest with you, it felt to me like the con was empty, because there's so much square footage in that con now that it almost felt like there was nobody there. And the way that they had the con arranged, I walked into the Warmachine area, and you walked upstairs and you never saw the rest of the con. I guess there were 40K people there, given that this is the largest 40K con in the entire nation. But it really was weird. On Saturday, other than the fact you couldn't find a stinking parking place, you couldn't tell that there was really much going on. But it was better than, it's a good con. Travis Marg, who is Dark Legacy, he's one of the Infernals on the forums. He's kind of the guy, the instigator there. He's put together organizes all the events and all that kind of stuff. Did another fantastic job, and they gave him a room that was, I think, smaller than last year's, which was really interesting, considering how much bigger the con was and how much more space that they had. We ended up actually with less space than before, but it was in a good spot. You know what I mean? It was right by the door.
Wow.
You could get in and out. You didn't have to really worry about too much, and it really it worked out pretty good.
Well, just take the good with the bad, and the bad with the scotch.
What's that?
I said you take the good with the bad.
Oh, absolutely.
Then the bad with the scotch.
Absolutely. It was a good con, and I think that they did a really good job organizing the events. But for me, the highlight, of course, was the Senior Pro Tour event.
So how'd that go?
It went very well. We had 12 people. I think we originally had 16 people signed up, but some of the old guys also played hardcore, and hardcore wrapped up at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And
so hardcore went overnight?
Yup. Not sure if I understand that.
No, that is really, really hardcore. My hat's off to them.
Yeah,
that is hardcore.
Running hardcore as a Midnight Madness event, so to speak, is pretty rough and tough.
I choose sleep, but hats off for hardcore.
Well, that's what two members of the Senior Pro Tour also chose, was sleep, and they slept through it. But the 12 of us that had managed to get out and get our breakfast sandwiches, and go harass those kids and tell them about getting off their lawn and stuff in the morning time, in time to get there, had a wonderful time. And Steve Groom, who is from the great place of Iowa City, was our PG running it, and he did a great job. We started off with a ceremonial drinking of some bourbon that Carl from Warmachine Weekend brought. It was delightful. It was a bourbon that had clearly spent a lot of time in a very well-seasoned barrel. There we go. So
tasty.
So now I got this Santar in here, and I took all his mold lines off, but I don't have a base for him, so there he sits. So we'll move on to the other one. I've got a base over there, but I'm not going to stop the show to go get a base for a Santarin. So I'm going to move on here to the to this Headless Horseman and get these off. And so we kicked it off, and Steve-O broke it into 2 flights again, where we had the 6 oldest people in one flight and the 6 youngest people. And now, young, of course, is a relative term. You've got to be 40 years old to get into the event. And that's the way we like it. And when any time that we see that John Damaris has signed up, we're going to increase the age limit to whatever it needs to be. And
makes me happy. I'm just a little bit older than him.
There you go. You're in. So the we left in my first round game. I only one listed it. I mean, we run it as a 50.2 list DNC 0, and we believe that DNC 0 is the best DNC, and so so we decided to go with that. And I was running a Madrak 2 list that had just a sea of dudes, all Fen Blades, and it had an Impaler, and it had an Earthborn, and it had full Fen Blades, full Creel Stone, a couple Cabers. The Sons of Bragg I put in there. Now, this is not a tech show. We're not even going to talk. Not even pretend that this is a tech show. I think I could have done better things with those 6 points, but I wanted to try them. I had not played with them since I assembled them. They were nicely painted, and I thought, well, we'll give them a shot. And I think that I could have spent my 6 points more wisely, and I've since redone the list without the Sons of Bragg. But I just think that I don't know. It seemed to me like I just wasn't getting 6 points of usage out of them, considering what else you can get for 6 points in that faction. There just might be better
Might not be his thing, because I had them, and they're pretty good, but might not be his thing.
Yeah. I just think, and to be honest with you, I haven't played with him enough, and I was burbling around with now which one's got reach? Oh yeah, it's the one that doesn't look like he has reach, and stuff like that. So I assembled my models wrong, which is entirely possible. So I'll try it some other time. I also had been goofing around with a Calandra list that had Nis Hunters and Boom Howlers and all kinds of garbage in it. It wasn't the Elemental Evolution list. Even though I was ready with a second Storm Troll, but oh well. So it was fun. I played against E. Haley in the first round, and yes, even in relaxed games, you'll see E. Haley, and it was E. Haley and a unit of Storm Swords, whatever the hell they're called. They're the swordy guys, and then
Sword Blades.
Yeah, them guys. The guys with the armor 15 victim stats. And then he had a unit of gun mages with the dude running a hunter, and it was fun. I mean, it was a good game. I mean, I eventually lost because I I can't count. I thought that I forgot that we were playing the one that has the objective that contests your flag. Yeah. Yeah, it turns out I hadn't killed the objective fast enough, and otherwise I would have won. Oh well. No big deal. So I lost, and then I played the next round. I faced up against Xerxes 2 and managed to kill Moloch Karn with my Earthborn. And then the Moloch Karn hadn't killed me on his Alpha Strike. And then he sent in a bronze back, and I killed that. But unfortunately, I killed that bronze back with my mind out, and I had forgotten that his mind was out. And I had moved on and done a bunch of other things, and then I looked at my card and my war room and went, "Well, crap, his mind is out. I couldn't have done what I just did." And so I called bullshit on myself and didn't disqualify myself, but forfeited the game. So I looked at him and go, well, I've got an irretrievable game state here. I'm going to give you the game, and here's why. And I walked him through it, and he was like, you know what? That was really cool. I'm glad. Thank you for doing that. And that's why I'm telling the story, not because I want to say, oh, look what a cool guy I am. But that's what the Senior Pro Tour is all about, is that you had 12 guys that were there just to have a nice time. And that's what we had. Now, I'm not going to give away anybody's age, but there's a certain somebody in the chat room right now who is concerned that they may not know the game well enough to play in the Senior Pro Tour event. And to that I say, that's not right. That's not what it's all about. If you can hold a shot glass and can laugh with a bunch of old people, you are highly qualified for the Senior Pro Tour event.
Absolutely.
So it was really, really fun. I got to play Rafe Granger from the D6 Generation podcast. He's still on there every quarter. He's not on there all the time anymore, but he's super nice guy and had a really wonderful game with him. So, Rafe, this one's for you if you're watching. I hope you are. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
And really had a nice time. So, Senior Pro Tour event, probably the next one's going to be in... I would assume there will be... We're hoping that there's going to be one at Lock and Load. We'll need to confirm that. And then we need to confirm whether or not there is going to be one at Gen Con. But for right now, the next one I know I'll be participating at is Warmachine Weekend. So please make sure that all of you who are listening to this, get your butt to Warmachine Weekend, and we'll have a good old time. And I'll have the Kraken, the People's Kraken as it's known. Because when you bring
I'll see you there.
Yes, you will. You bring when you bring a bottle of booze to the Senior Pro Tour event, it is the people's whatever. So, absolutely, can't wait to get some games in with you, John. That's going to be amazing.
Yep. Actually, financially, I think I figured out the whole thing. It's just making sure that the job thing works out fine, and it should.
All right, man. Well, let's all keep our fingers crossed for that, because it would be great to have Team Painting with Menoth John all in one place for Cluster F-A-Palooza.
Absolutely.
That would be tremendous. That's the best time ever. Oh, by the way, I'm going to start painting now, so I have to put on the Blue Glove of Love. So let's get that on here. Actually, what's funny? It's funny, John. The Blue Glove of Love is actually somewhat purple these days. I don't know. I got these things at Walgreens. I kind of hate them, but they're too expensive for me to throw away.
Well, fair enough, but eventually you just get some better ones next time, or just keep getting the bad ones, and if they work, who cares?
Or I've just got an insanely fat right hand. It could just be that. I don't know. Anyway, so...
Moving swiftly on?
Yeah, so... Anyhow, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start painting some of these rune shapers. This is my last unit of rune shapers, so thank God. And never to get more. So let's go ahead and... it's 7:30. Let's go ahead and let's do some flippity and some blooping. Or is there anything else, John, that you had to talk about Adepticon? Jay Larson won.
Yep, Jay Larson won. Congrats. No, I mean, I didn't go. I didn't really hear... all I heard from Marshall was that they sold out of Devil's Shadow Mutineers before he could even get some at the store, which is kind of BS. And he almost stepped on Social Starscream because she's like 2 feet tall.
She is a petite lady. Let me tell you what. She is. she can walk. She can get into locked doors by simply strolling underneath the door jamb. She is a tiny, tiny person. However, she looked like she was having a very nice time with her JVM. So.
Those two are cute.
They are adorables. There's no two ways about it.
Youngins.
I know, right? It's like, you fool. Anyway. Young
All right.
love, sweet love. That's right. How about we stop singing, John? Excellent. Moving right along. Flippity bloop.
All right. Mike Bond chimes in to say that he doesn't have one for us because he's on vacation. I guess again, because wasn't he in Hawaii just a little bit ago?
What does this? I mean, this
We take some vacations.
dude he works for the government or some nonsense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Bond, Mike Bond. I had to do it that way because it's like, a play on the James Bond thing. And I mean, if that's what our tax dollars are going for, at least you could wait until the government shuts down. That's what I'd like to do. Just wait till the government shuts down because it's gonna happen. Then you can take all these vacations, but stop going places on my dime, essentially. Because John, that's what it means. If you're employed, you are sending Mike Bond to vacations. What's up with that? I disapprove.
So, on that note, I actually worked with a guy named with last name of Bond, and one day I get to live the dream where he looks to me and says, "Do you expect me to whatever?" And I got to, "No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die."
Nice.
And then he looked at me like I was crazy because he's like 23 and had no fucking idea what I was talking about.
Oh my God! What a waste! What a waste to have a
That's
name
all right.
like that.
I still got to live the dream. It's
That's
okay.
Absolutely. You know what? They should make him change his name just for that.
All right. So on to real flippity bloops.
Flippity bloop.
We start with Tracy Carter, who says, "What is your favorite number of points to play?"
My favorite number of points my favorite way to speak is to anyway. So my favorite level of points to play for most games is 50. However, I have recently started becoming enamored with 35, and I'll tell you why. I played in a 35-point event when I was in Augusta, and that's Georgia. They're having a golf tournament or something this week, I guess. And
that's big.
exactly, where they hit a ball and then they walk towards it, and then they hit it again and then they walk towards it again. It's like, come on, guys, get with the program. Just hit the ball and then see how far you hit it and be done. The rest of it's kind of boring. Anyway, so my 35 points is probably a close second these days. And while I know that I'd say more competitive people would say, no, 50 points is the best because you can fill more holes and all that kind of stuff. I think 35, though, because of how fast the game plays and the fact that you can get a nice little, like an 8-person scrambler done in an evening instead of having to make an all-day commitment, I think there's a lot to be said for that. So 35 and 50 are, I would have said definitely 50 maybe a year ago, but that 35-point level is really starting to kind of grow on me. What do you think, John?
Since I'm playing Circle right now at 50, because playing Hordes and playing a Hordes faction that relies on its beasts in less than 50 is just not good. You don't get a balanced army. I had to play a 35-point game against a local to get on our challenge board, and he brought a Sea of Trolls, and I had less models than one of his units.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that thing when I was down in Augusta, I was playing Madrak 2 with a Sea of Dudes, and I won that, and that should really not surprise too many people.
Yeah, he was playing. He was also playing Madrak 2, and he had a Sea of Dudes, but luckily I'm pretty good at deconstructing dudes, and I kind of knew it was coming. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. So I really like 50 better, though. Honestly, back when I was playing mostly Signar, I actually liked 42, the German European one, because it's all the quickness of 35 with that little bit of extra punch you get from playing 50.
Nice. I've never played a 42-point game. Adam Ball, who is from my local area here, super sweet guy. He and I have been kind of talking about it's been so long since he and I had played that maybe a 42-point game would be just exactly what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, and we played a tournament of one back when reinforcements was a thing, and 42-point reinforcements were like 6 points, and it was very interesting because it's just enough to get, or it was 8 points. It was just enough to get some good stuff. You know, it was just like, it's not like the 10 points you got at 50. It was very interesting. I felt like even the reinforcements worked better at that point.
Nice. So, I mean, honestly, Sassy, what I would say is look a little bit at the different ones. I like the 35. The 42 sounds very enjoyable, but the game it really seems to be maybe at its best balance at maybe 50. So I think that's kind of a roundabout way of saying that answer.
42 might actually overtake it if you played it enough, but make sure if you play somebody at a points value, make them make a new list. Don't let them be like, I'm going to take a couple things out. No. Just make a new list from scratch. Because it doesn't work. Not like other games. It's got a mesh, and just taking some stuff out gets crazy. So.
Yep, there you go.
All right, and her second question is, worst alcoholic beverage you've ever had?
Ooh, worst alcoholic beverage I've ever had. I think that I tried... Okay, so this is an interesting story. I was... As everyone knows, I fly a ton for work, and I have really for literally my entire career. And this goes back to my days when I was at General Mills, and I was flying for General Mills, and we were starting up the plant that is now down in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And it was the winter time, and a snowstorm was actually the fall. It was right around Halloween, and we had a freak snowstorm in the greater Minneapolis area. And they only had one de-icing truck basically for the whole airport was like staffed and ready to go. So we sat on the tarmac for just forever, and the entire group of people who were working for General Mills had spent so much time on the road that we were basically all upgraded to first class. So we were in there and we drank that plane frickin' dry. Literally, there was nothing left in the bar. And all that was left was cognac. Now, at the time, darker brown liquors were not something that I was necessarily all about, and continue to not actually be all that much about them these days, although I do like a dark spiced rum, of course. Hey, Kraken. So they said, all we've got left is cognac. And I was already lit. And so I got the cognac, and I drank it, and I couldn't drink it. As hammered up as I was, I couldn't drink the damn stuff. I don't remember why I don't like it, because it was so long ago. I mean, guys, come on. I'm 46 years old, going on 47. I'm lucky I can remember what the hell I had for breakfast, which was waffles, and they were lovely. We made waffles here at Casa John this morning. But yeah, cognac was nasty. What about you, John?
Well, I was going to say Budweiser, but then I realized I said alcoholic beverage, so we don't count that shit. I've had some scotches. I don't remember what they were. They were just not good. I mean, I'd try again just because, like I said, maybe I'm not doing it right, but they were not good at all.
The last time I had scotch was frickin' foul, and I'll be honest with you. I'm still a little scared of that gift bottle that I was given. But we're gonna have a scotching with Menoth John episode, and
if you do it right, maybe it's better. But not so much.
Tedgo promises me that I can enjoy it. So, and if there's one dude on this planet that I'm gonna believe, it's that fella.
Indeed.
He and his wife are about the cutest thing on legs. They are just amazing. And then they and to see him at the robotics competitions and stuff on Facebook and stuff, that guy I trust. So I'm going to figure this stuff out. And but yeah, scotch not good. At least not initially. But I'm going to try it and I'm going to figure it out. And if I don't, it's going to be a gift for a competition or something. So could be a gift at Warmachine weekend. You never know. Anyway, so there we go. Flippity bloop.
All right. The next one is Chris Eberly goes. Wow. If you had to eat 20 chimichangas in one sitting with hot sauce on them for any Warmachine menu of your choosing, would you do it?
Yeah, why not? Chimichangas are freaking legit. If I can name, I don't think I could do it, but I'd give it a hell of a try. Who don't like a chimichanga? So, which I believe is a quote from Napoleon Dynamite, a movie I've seen. I can't even remember how many times I've seen Napoleon Dynamite. And
infinitely more than me.
And I would guess that it is that for a hot sauce I would choose probably that Cholula stuff.
Okay.
It's the one with the wooden top on it, with the lovely lady with I think she's got like a plate full of peppers or something. And because that's my favorite hot sauce right now. I don't like Tabasco sauce. I think it's just if I wanted to drink vinegar, I would. And but I like the Cholula sauce. But 20 chimichangas is a lot of chimichangas.
Yeah, no, I choose life. I don't. There is no model for
I choose
Warmachine
life.
that I need enough to try that.
Well, you're not gonna put on any weight from it. You're just gonna poop them out. I mean, it's just gonna be.
I'm gonna vomit them out. It's 20 of them. Jesus.
That's actually true. Can I throw them up and then try keep going? Is that part of the contest? I wonder.
Oh God, that's horrific. I would still just choose life. No, I'll work some extra time and make some extra money and afford the model.
Coward. Anyway. No,
don't say cowards. Don't say smart.
No, no, that is the smart way, and I love that. Choose life. That's what we are here. We are very life affirming here at Painting with Menoth, John.
Oh, and that's a quote from Ice Age if you want.
Nice. I choose life.
All right. So next is Martin Fauster, who says favorite gimmick match format.
Gimmick match format. Okay, so I'm gonna say that it is Who's the Boss when run by Major Tusk in Madison. The event that he has that in Madison each year that is in the holiday time frame is the best of them all because what it does is they've got the time to kind of do it right. It's not one of these Who's the Bosses that has to fit into a specific time thing. It's got an all day kind of a feel. So it's for charity, so you can buy the respins and all this kind of stuff, and you get a challenge system built into it that you can say, I want to play, because Keith Christensen challenged me one time, and that was super fun. Let me tell you, Scavras has no business in Trolls. None. Zero. Because he gets an armor buff, and he gets 1 point TKs and all kinds of crap, and it's just none of that's fair. Because armor, I think he had an Earthborn at armor 25 or 26, and yeah, I couldn't break it. And so so that is, I think, the best gimmick format, so to speak. We call him hardcore casual around here, but it is certainly not Steamroller. But I think his version of it at that holiday event is probably as good as it gets. What do you think?
Gotcha. Well, I'm only going to go with the ones I've actually played, not the oones I hope to play or going to play next month or what have you. So I'm going to go with Devil Squid's 50-point two-caster, each with their own separate battle group, Mangled Metal Tooth and Claw that we did last Christmas. It was super legit fun.
So it's two casters. They both have their own, or are they both in each other's battle groups?
Nope, they both have their own battle group.
Okay.
So for last time I played Assyria Ron because I wanted 16 focus because why not? And Assyria had a Aspis, a Hyperion, and a Banshee, and Ron had a Phoenix and what's his face, Imperatus. And I went 3-0, did pretty good. Last round, if you remember from my battle report, I faced a guy who had Gorton with an Earthbreaker and Bart with 2 Galleons, and we ended 9-8 on control points or something silly like that because we both ended up parking each other in our own zones and scoring to even it up until I finally got his last Colossal dead and contested his zone.
Wow.
Yeah, the Hyperion never actually took damage past its shield.
That's awesome.
It was super fun.
And with a gun like that one too, that you can just really put in a lot of damage.
And it was all about killing stuff. It wasn't about winning so much. So I didn't actually get first. It was about killing stuff, and then control points were extra on top of that.
Okay. But
you could still only top out. So it was about killing points. So my first game I didn't kill so many. So that's why I didn't come in first. But that was okay. It was still a good time. Came in second. And plus it was White Elephant. So I ended up with a Crix Arcnode box that's sitting somewhere that I will pack up and send for next year.
There you go. Super cool. Oh, I forgot to mention one of the things they're giving away at Adepticon. I'll put it out here. They're giving away Relic Knights boxes. I got a
Oh, cool.
Brahe and a Fruitfucker 9000 one.
Oh,
So.
that's even sweeter. That's a really hard to get model that eventually will be impossible to get.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I should
Because they have a license for so many years, and then after that runs out, they can't produce anymore.
Nice. I had Chuck playing with it and stuff, so we'll probably put it together and paint it up.
I think you'd like Relic Knights. It's a fun little game. It's just so many games.
I know, right? What are you supposed to do? I mean, there's just so much to do.
It's a good game because it's like you don't have to kill the enemy models. You can just try and achieve your objectives.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Brett Painter and I played a game where he had one model left and was seriously threatening to win the game. Like, it came down to me having a slightly better draw and winning the game, but it was good fun.
Oh wait,
there you go.
I see Wonky Kong bought some, so.
Oh, boom!
Nice. I got somebody in my area. Maybe I'll actually get to play a game or something. That'd be super cool.
Yeah, a lot of us locals got into it, and we just haven't played it too much. Just so much Warmachine and Infinity, and then people want to play Malifaux again, and they're everything games.
So many hours in the day,
right.
man. My purchase what for the thing was I got the Battle of Brighton box for Rivet Wars that I haven't been able to find anywhere, and then there it was.
Cool.
So super cool there.
So let's jump around. Oh, we got a twofer on Kador stuff that we're going to be really super on the edge of tech with.
Nice. Let's do it.
Scott Hebel II goes, "What's your experience with Butcher 3? I just got him and I want to lose some friends."
You won't lose any friends with Butcher 3. He is a perfectly legit caster that's super fun for whoever gets to play him, and he is absolutely beatable. While he is certainly difficult to deal with, if you're playing against him, you just need to realize the fact that he's going to be armor cajillion. So just make sure that you bring your armor cracking list to the party.
Yepers. I mean, I played him recently for the Mosar Challenge against one of our locals, Chad, who was also trying out Ruin, and I squeaked out a scenario win. He's just more threatening the most. It's a lot like playing against Chromac. You don't get within X inches or you die.
Yep.
Other than that, he's like he's not too much better. He just is really, really good at killing crap.
Yeah, I mean, whatever he touches is gonna die. He's Butcher. I mean, it's just there's not that much different than before, and he's gonna suck you in. So just you better be ready for the fact that impending doom is a thing, and if you've got some way to park yourself next to a wall that will prevent impending doom from happening, that's probably a good idea. And if you can't, then if you get an assassination run at him, you better have something that can do some very serious damage, because he's got a lot of boxes, and he's got a war dog probably sitting behind him, and all that stuff is going to make it darn hard to get, basically to... My favorite thing to do is to stick a bunch of... run wave after wave of trolls at him, and stand next to a flag, dominate it, and win on scenario.
Yep, they're chatting about him in the chat room, and I played against him with... a couple times with Rhett. The first time was in a tournament, and I played Gareth, and Gareth doesn't care about him. Put Mirage on yourself and just go like, you're going to kill... Oh, look at all those dudes you killed. I kill you. Yeah. Because that's what Gareth does.
Yep. Your
just have something range, shoot his dog off, and you're like, and you die.
Yep.
Good game.
Your power field impresses me not very much at all.
And my super tech, here's your tech. This is the tech moment of the podcast.
Oh, snap. Hang on to your socks, Internet.
If you're playing Rhett and you've got one of the two casters who has admonition, put admonition on a Banshee and accidentally leave it close enough that he could charge it. Then you move with admonition. Then he tries to cast Impending Doom to draw you in, and fails because it's a Banshee that can't cast spells within 5 inches.
Sucka.
So I can Butcher 3.
Sucka. Oh, look at my little mini book.
I thought of it, and I'm like, that's good tech. There you go. There's your tech moment.
Ain't nobody selling that kind of tech anywhere else on the internet. I'm going to tell you that right now. And that's not even hardcore casual tech. That's just tech.
Yep. All right. So next is from Chris Price, who, if I remember correctly, is one of the guys from Tennessee area that we see at ATC. Though
Nice.
unfortunately, not this year. He says, "How would you fix Khador Man-O-War units?"
Okay, so first off, let's talk about the shock troopers. I mean, other than the fact that they're speed 4, they're really, really good. They put a ton of armor on there, and I fear those guys. I don't know what to do about them half the time other than just ignore them. What do you think, John?
I actually feel like they're good now with the Iron Fang Kovnik to give them shield march.
Sure,
So they can walk 6. You run forward 8 first turn, and then after that you're just moving 6 and going. I played Phillies fan or Eagles fan on occasional Brushhead. I played his army against Bowie, and it's been pretty good.
Yeah, that was actually some tech that Rafe was running on when I was playing against him at the Old Man tournament. He had the Iron Fang Kovnik that was there to shield march either some Iron Fang pikemen or some or the Man-O-War shock troopers, and I immediately recognized that dude was public enemy number 1, and took him off the table. But that is a very serious thing. I think that the mistake maybe that Rafe made was Rafe had him out in front, and he really should have been kind of bringing up the rear, barking that order from the rear to keep him alive. And because those shock troopers.
I was playing one of the Irisks, the one that has not the Battle Lust or whatever it is. That makes them absolutely off the chain.
Oh, Fury?
No, not Fury. Battle Lust. Basically makes them Weapon Master.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that makes them pretty good. Bombardiers.
Well, let's talk about what used to be a great unit that is no more, and that's the God, I can't even remember what their name was anymore. The Man-O-War Demo Corps.
Oh, Demo Corps, yeah.
Demo Corps used to be
I actually
amazing.
feel like they're a great second line because if you have like Iron Fang screening, no one can get to them, and if they waste their shots taking shots of Demo Corps, they're going to be pretty resilient, and then they're going to have Iron Fangs in their face.
Yeah, you can't allow the Iron Fangs to get
No,
to you.
because Iron Fangs hit hard too.
Yep.
And the Demo Corps cleaning up like late game when their Speed 4 gets them into melee.
Yeah.
They're legit. I think they're actually the second best of those units, and they're just they're almost there. I mean, they're never going to be the super A game top tier unit, but they have value in certain lists.
So the question was, what can you do to improve them or fix them? I think that given the fact that they're not carrying heavy shields anymore, that they are in. I think they deserve at least one more speed. To be honest, I think that,
speed 5 or something like if they run, they get extra movement. Just something like that. Or maybe even just what the hell do you call it? Boundless charge or whatever. When you charge, you get Pathfinder. Just something like that.
Yep.
Any little thing to give them that tiny speed bit, so that difficult terrain doesn't just F them in the A. It'd be great.
Yep. So I think that would help them quite a bit. Then there's Bombardiers, and I honestly have never seen Bombardiers played, so I don't know anything about them.
Bombardiers are pretty good. They're what I would call my ideal unit. If you gave me them in Mercs, I would rule the world. But what they would need is Snipe would be good, Deadeye would be great. All those in Signar, Bombardiers would be off the chain because their casters have all the bonuses that make them good.
What are they, Rat 4 or Rat 5 or?
They're Rat 5.
Okay.
I mean, that's one thing I like about Man-O-War is they have those guns. So if you get the shock troops, so if you get in that standoff position, you're like, well, I'm going to have to take a charge, so I'll walk up and shoot you.
Yep.
You know, it's like POW 12 gun or something like that. It's not bad.
No.
And these guys have AoE 3s, so if you have a list that has pretty much everything else covered, and you just need something to fire some AoEs and just take care of some Chaosi-ish type troops or NIST type troops, they might be your things. But I think they'd be better with maybe something where if they aim, they get snipe. They get +4 inches of range if they aim or something like that.
Sure.
That would be perfect, I think. it doesn't give them any extra threat, so you're not like making them overpowered, but you're like, I'm going to be Rat 7, and I'm going to be that longer range.
And that would be helpful.
Be good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because who don't like a unit with AOE's on command? I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
With grenade launchers and chainsaws on the end. I mean,
exactly. Cool. So I mean, that's kind of what I would think. We're kind of thinking along the same kind of lines on those things.
Yeah.
But I wish they would be better too, because any time that you can improve the diversification of lists, that's a good thing.
Yep.
And Rafe, I think, used his shock troopers very well in my game. It's just a matter of I didn't have anything I really wanted to deal with them, so I just sort of ignored them, and because they're slow, I was able to. I had that luxury. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Flippity bloop.
All right. Earl England asks, what's the worst/least fun faction to play? I assume he's going to say play against, not to play with.
Yeah. I don't know. We can answer it kind of from my standpoint. I mean, the worst to play against. God, I don't know. They've all of the different factions really give different challenges and different things. I mean, I think that I harp on Crix an awful lot just because the reason I don't always enjoy playing against them is because the factions that I like to play have some particularly strong issues with some of the things that they present. I think that they because they have access to so many debuffs trivially that it makes them very, very difficult to play against. And sometimes it can make you feel downright helpless against some of them. The classic example is playing against a Denny list where she debuffs you for 5 to 9 armor, and then here comes a Bane, with a Bane Thrall in there giving Dark Shroud, and maybe Tartarus is cursed, and all this kind of stuff, and it feels like you have maybe a list that you've built to have high defense, and there's just not much you can do to mitigate that. So, but I think all the factions have their own particular aspects to them that make them more or less challenging to play against. But I'll tell you, I also take the greatest amount of satisfaction from beating Crix. Doesn't happen often, but boy, do I feel like top of the world when it happens. I forget who I was playing against, but I beat Crix with trolls, and I was just happier than a clam. It was down at Augusta, and I was playing against 40 Mechanothralls or 30 Mechanothralls in a 35-point game, and I beat that list with trolls playing Epic Madrak, because you jam 2 units of Fenblades in there and feet, you can kill the world.
Yes, you can.
So and he didn't have any because of the points, he added Mechanothralls instead of putting in Necrosurgeons and Stitch Thralls. So the recursion meant it was nice to play against a Crix list that just didn't reanimate itself every turn either. So, but anyway, so that's my thoughts. What do you think, John? What are some of your least favorite armies to play against? Or to play?
If it's not one of the 2 Denny's, I'm going to straight up just say Menoth. Because I like to use my stuff, not be like, oh no, you can't use that 9-point unit that casts spells because I have this 2-point model that's really, really impossible to remove easily that says you can't cast spells within a stupidly high distance. That's what's commonly called some old bullshit.
Yeah. I feel you.
There are some things, and it's not many of anything, but just Menoth seems to have the preponderance of no. If they were a magic card color, they would be blue. No.
Yeah.
And that's the dangerous part of a game, is the no's. Other than that, I mean, the 2 Denny's are kind of annoying because their 2 feats and abilities are pretty silly. But,
I
don't really mind so much.
I think when they designed Mark II and they took a look at I think one of the things they did when they designed it was they looked at some of the models and units that maybe weren't seeing as much playtime as others, and some of those got some of the more significant buffs. And the book in Mark I was this complicated sea of text that you had to murder your own.
I've seen it.
You had to murder your own stuff to make it work, and you had to. It was like jumping through hoops to get it to work. And then all of a sudden they said, well, let's just take those 3 things that it can do and let's just make them special actions. Just do them trivially. And that the book, if there's a model that gets rebalanced in Mark 2.5, I think what they need to do is they need to probably, and they just gave the damn ability out again. The Holy Shroud, they just gave it to that new Circle faction, so they must still think it's okay, at least on something. But if they could, I think they need to get the human-sized rule out of there and just make it a large base, so you can just shoot it from wherever, and then possibly take that Ancient Shroud rule and do something to it. I don't know, because the Ancient Shroud rule it makes a 2-point model awfully damn difficult to remove from the table.
Absolutely.
Flippity bloop. We're gonna do one more.
Right. At least one.
Yeah, let's do one or two more.
Okay.
I'm making progress on this, guys.
Quick. All right. Here we go. Mike Bilak asks, "What do you do to keep yourself from faction hopping when you're feeling it down on your faction?"
I think when you're feeling down on your faction, one of the things that you need to realize first off is that you gotta kind of realize this is a game, and try not to get too discouraged, and figure out, is there something in the game that is something in your faction that it's are you in a rut and you're not thinking about the how to play that faction, or is there really something wrong with it, or do you have just like a meta that is particularly hard on that particular faction? Like maybe there's maybe there's a lot of stealth in your meta and you're playing Protectorate, and sometimes that can be a little challenging, or you're playing back in the day before Rhett got some answers to stealth. I mean, that could be very challenging if you had a lot of people who predominantly played Shadowpact casters and things like that. But that's one thought. I mean, but faction hopping, all of these, one of the things that I trust in, and we had David Carl on here, and one of the things I trust about Privateer is that they are spending the time and they're going through the pain and agony of balancing these factions. So there's an answer to everything everywhere. It's just a matter of finding it. You don't want to. The other thing is to keep in mind when you're talking about faction hopping is that by getting a lot of different factions underneath your belt, you're not going to improve your game. You're going to have a lot of models, but you're not going to necessarily improve your game, because you're just not going to know your new faction in the same way that you would one that you've got a lot of experience with. So that's maybe something to kind of keep in mind. John, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to throw some thoughts out. Some of them are going to sort of be opposite of what you said,
okay,
for funniness. First thing you want to do is you want to sit back and take a hard look and go, is it my play, or is it something in the faction that it's not getting?
Very good point. If
it's your play, just keep playing that faction. Other than that, switch to another faction. Get the second faction. Because the grass is always greener on the other side, but you'll get there and you realize, hey, this grass isn't so green. And you'll look back and you get a different perspective on it. Now, you don't want to do that too much. If that faction starts to do the same thing, go back to the other faction. Don't get a third faction. I feel you never need more than 2 factions. Really.
Yeah, I've had all of the factions at one time or another, and it's a matter of that's your play. It has nothing to do with the factions.
Unless it's but if you want to get all the factions and it's possible for you, you can do it. Like John said, you won't get better, but what you will do is you will diversify your game, and there will be a point. It'll take longer. There will be a point where it all clicks, and you know so much about every faction. Someone puts down, you're like, I know what all this stuff does. That's a great feeling at a game table. And then you'll get another action like, I know what all that guy's stuff does too. And next thing you know, you're winning a tournament because you know what everyone's stuff does. You know how to counter it. Or you get in a tournament, you're like, I felt like I knew what I was doing in all those games because I know what everything does. Yeah. But that's a hard point, and it will take a bit longer to get there than just playing the same faction and learning it inside and out.
You know, for me, I ended up in Trolls because I found what I really, really wanted to get out of the game was I wanted something that was going to hit damn hard and pretty accurately, and when I hit it, it was going to die. That's what I wanted out of Protectorate. And Protectorate, for the most part, gives that to you. They hit the hell out of stuff. They hit it real hard and usually very accurately, thanks to things like the Choir and elite weapon choices and stuff like that. However, what they don't give me, especially with Errants and some of the other things, is survivability on the way in. So what I would find very frustrating is that I would lose so many of the tools that I was counting on for later. By the time I got engaged, I would lose on the way in. Now maybe that's bad strategy on my part, and there's a lot of people who are very successful. I mean, you look at Owen. Owen is an extremely accomplished Protectorate player, and he plays a lot of single wound infantry and things like that. So, but for me, Trolls gave me that extra little bit of survivability on the way in that finally matched, I think, my playstyle really, really well. And faction hopping is one way of finding that kind of stuff out. But maybe you can faction hop with models that you can borrow or find out from, someone will lend you some models to play with. That's always a good way to go, too.
Yep, indeed.
So, there you go.
Now I got two more flippity bloops I want to get to.
Sure.
Because one is topical and the other one is kind of topical.
Okay.
David Wonky, our own Wonky Kong, wants to know what was the best moment at Adepticon?
Without question, my best moment at Adepticon was sitting down across the table from Brave Granger, a guy who I had, I'll admit a little bit of fanboyism. The D6 generation is the reason that I found Warmachine in the first place, and if it hadn't been for those guys, there would be no Painting with Menoth John. There'd be no Menoth John. And discovered Warmachine listening to their podcast while cutting the grass when I lived in Minnesota. So getting a chance to finally, after seeing him at different cons and never really kind of having our schedules match up, that he was in the Old Man tournament and sitting down, with people like Carl Morgan and Dan Skybo and him and all these people that, are just real gentlemen at the tables and having just a really positive experience playing the game. That for me is the best part. And then, I got a chance to kind of mend some fences with the guys in Milwaukee after the unfortunate experience at that one tournament. I had a chance to sit down and talk to the press ganger who was running the event that day, and basically I feel bad that I probably didn't conduct myself in a manner in which I should have. I should have not really cut ties with the store in quite the way that I have, and so things are better. That's a great moment for me on both of those. And then also finding that darn Battle of Brighton that I've been wanting to play for Rivet Wars for so darn long. And this means that once I get a little table set up down in the basement of Casa John in Ron's Pub, there'll be some Rivet Wars happening, that's for sure. That game's legit. So, yeah, there's in the very short amount of time that I was in Adepticon, there were some good times and some really good memories made out of the deal. So,
Awesome.
Get to a con. Man, if you can afford it, even just maybe even one a year, just get there and have some fun, because it's a whole different kind of environment than just playing in your local game store.
Sweet. And then the last one we'll get to is from Dustin Snyder, and I want to get to this. I'm not sure if you can help him, but someone posted a response on Facebook, and I want to make sure he saw that someone did that.
Okay.
And it says he'd like to buy his first French press. Any words of wisdom? And mine are, check the same Facebook thread, because one of the guys posted his thoughts on it, and they sounded like he really knew what he was talking about. So that's at least a start.
If you want a French press, the best thing I can advise you to do is go to like a Kohl's department store, or all French presses are pretty much designed the same. There's what you want to make sure is that you use a good coffee. You put enough coffee in it. The thing about a French press is that it is not economical when it comes to using of coffee. It probably is the most intense user of coffee of any of the brewing methods. Get your water in there, let it steep for about 4 minutes, and then press it and drink it. And I will tell you that if you're using a good quality coffee, there is no better way to experience the unique flavors of really well done coffee than to have a French press. It is the de facto standard. When we are tasting coffee at Starbucks, it is always French press. So there you go. Keep it cheap. They don't need to be expensive.
There you go. I can't give coffee advice because I don't drink coffee. So
I am reasonably qualified to give coffee advice.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever had a cup of coffee. No, I had one. It was horrible.
It's an acquired taste. It really is. I mean, so are, like, I don't know, pig brains or something too, but it's way better than pig brains. So I highly recommend the French press, and there we go. John, are you taking a piss right now?
Nope.
Okay, sounded like you were taking a whiz. Making a drink?
Yep, I'm empty, so I need to make another drink.
There you go. Good stuff. So there you go. That's gonna be. I can't edit that out. Who am I kidding? I don't have time tonight. Anyhow, so there you go. So that is that one. Flippity bloop. Any other ones that John that you can remember off the top of your head? Should we move on to the next segment on the medias?
Well, if you want to do one more quick one,
Yeah.
one of the guys, I'll get his name in a minute because I closed the program down.
No problem.
Wants to know what the best caster to start Warmachine with is.
Wow, that's a hard question. The one that intrigues you. I mean, I think that the battle boxes are a great value. Denegra is an amazing battle box, and it's pretty low skill cap, to be honest. But you know, I think that you should start with the caster that's interested. Now, ones I would avoid. Ron is a Rube Goldberg machine. While powerful, he'll hurt your brain 8 ways to Sunday. He's very, very powerful, however. I would avoid the Convergence of Cirrus as a first faction also. But that's about the best. I mean, if I was taking Protectorate, Sevi 1, I think is a great first caster. In my eyes, a better first caster than Krios 1. But
Well, Wonky Kong says P Striker, and I agree with P Striker. He is a great caster to learn on, and that battle box is legit because it's got a caster with upkeeps, a caster with offensive stuff. He's got up defense to keep you from getting yourself killed if you're being silly, and his jacks all do stuff.
Yep.
Like the Signar battle box might be the best to learn on of all of them.
yeah, it's definitely got a lot of good examples on things. It's maybe not as overtly powerful as the Crix battle box, but it's certainly got a lot to learn from.
Yeah, and that was Richard Lavery who asked that one.
Nice. Well, welcome, Richard. If you're a newer player, I welcome to the show. I hope you enjoy the show and continue to watch.
Yeah, and actually on battle boxes, the best one I had was teaching Grumpy Old Dan how to play. I gave him the Striker battle box, and I took a modified Magnus 1 battle box where it didn't have a Renegade because that's some bullshit. It was actually literally just a Talon, a Nomad, and a Vanguard. And we had a great game. It was super fun.
Cool.
Maybe the best battle box level game I've ever had.
Super fun. Well, that you take the Renegade out of there, and that really does change the way that list plays too. So, super fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's enough for this week. We're 9:12. We're pretty far past.
Yeah, that's okay. You know, we lose track of time because we're awesome like that. So, cool. We are on to the media section, and I am going to go ahead, while I continue to paint this, talk a little bit about an anime that I watched here over the last week or so, and that is, it was unexpected. I'm not really sure how I came across it, other than it was on Netflix, and it had an interesting name. It's called Arpeggio of Blue Steel. And essentially, the plot of this show is that Earth has, due to global warming or something, the waters have kind of risen a little bit in the world, and some kind of an alien, it's not really terribly well expressed, some kind of a force or another has taken over these ships, and they all look like World War II battleships and cruisers and things like that, and they are sentient now, and they have cut off they're called the Fog, and they've cut off the different communications between different countries and stuff like that. So essentially, the United States is like cut off from all the other countries and things like that. And these sentient ships have these what they call mental models, which are like personifications of the personality of the ship, and they are all played by, in quite anime fashion, young girls. And so
of course,
it's a little cheesy as far as that's concerned, but I will hand it to this show. It had the opportunity to turn Arpeggio Blue Steel into the world's worst fan service harem show, and they didn't do it. They're much smarter than that in this show, and it follows the adventures of this guy whose father was big in the Admiralty, and he's kind of a lone wolf kind of a guy, but he's very, very smart. And he's They have this one fog submarine 401, and they've been studying it for 7 years, and they'd gotten nowhere with it, sort of along the lines of Independence Day with the spaceship. And he touches it once, and it comes to life, and it has chosen him to be its captain. And so the ship and he escape from the dry dock, and they go out and they're defeating the fog. So this is a fog sub that has developed a personality and has identified itself now strongly enough with the human race that it now wants to fight for it. So you take that, and it's only 12 episodes long. It's very satisfying. I thought the character development was really well. The girls are not the typical fan service harem objects where they're just falling in love with the main character and the main character doesn't want anything to do with them and all that kind of cliche bullshit from most harem shows. And it is really, really entertaining, and it follows them through battling the main fog fleets, and they've got to get this special weapon to the United States, and it's just really well done. So I would say Arpeggio Blue Steel, I highly recommend it. I would give it one shot of Kraken for its overall enjoyability, but go ahead and have a second. Go ahead and have a second, because the girls are super cute and really nice and smart, and they're really well portrayed. So Arpeggio Blue Steel available on the Netflix.
It's also a manga.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. So there you go. What do you got for us? You said you had some movies. You had quite a few teasers for me during the pre-ramble, which is available. Which is available to patrons at the Patreon note right here where I'm pointing. Kind of. God, how do you make my? Okay, here it is. See right there. Patreon.com/menoffjohn. We are at 21 patrons. We'd love to have you to be number 22, whoever you are out there. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I have two movies. One is The Mummy. And I mean the Brandon Fraser one.
I love that movie.
I love that movie too. It is everything you want from a action-adventure type of movie.
Yep.
I don't want to say it's perfect, because it's not perfect, but it's everything you want from that kind of movie. Brandon Fraser is a convincing action lead, which was a shock. He's got just enough comedic chops to make the funny parts funny and can take the serious parts just serious enough.
I think I like it better than Indiana Jones, John.
It's more fun than Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Indiana Jones is Indiana Jones is a better movie. Don't anyone think we're saying otherwise. This movie's more fun.
Yep, I agree with that.
And if fun is your big thing, that's definitely going to make you like this movie. Rachel Weisz is great in it. She plays a librarian. It's sort of like took Indiana Jones and went, here's his violent, beat people up, shoot people half. Here's his smarts, and they're two different people. And they have chemistry, too, which is the best thing about any movie when there's any sort of romance. And it's kind of believable in this case. I didn't really think any of it was crazy.
Good.
I don't remember the name of the guy. I actually love her brother. God, what's his name? I'm going to have to look this up.
Okay.
The guy who plays the Mummy is fine. Arnold Vosloo is his name.
Okay.
I think that's his name. He's been in a ton of movies. Anything that director does, anything Stephen Sommers does, it's probably going to have these guys in it. Arnold Vosloo. John Hannah plays Rachel Weisz's brother. He's great. He's sort of that sort of comic relief guy, but he's not full comic relief, which is great. And then Oded Fahir plays the Muslim guy who is super cool. He plays a bigger part in the sequel. Spoiler, I'll be watching that probably this week to give you guys a review of that.
Nice.
But everyone plays their part well enough. The action scenes are cool, relatively convincing. It makes its rules pretty quick and sticks by its rules through the entire movie, which, hey, that's important.
Internal consistency is the worst thing that can go wrong with a movie.
Yeah, and nothing takes you out of the movie. You're in it. It's a fun action ride. It's a fun action ride for the whole movie.
Cool.
Like you said, it is probably more fun than Raiders of the Lost Ark. Maybe not more fun than the third one. Brain not working.
Yeah, the one with The Last Crusade.
The Last Crusade, yeah.
I like that movie a lot.
Those two movies are pretty similar as far as tone.
Yeah.
those are the most nagless. I mean, because Raiders of the Lost Ark is a bit more serious, and obviously Temple of Doom, which is very underrated, is super serious. It's still a good movie. But yeah, I give The Mummy 1.5 shots of Kraken.
There you go. That's a good one.
Maybe one, depends on your mood, but it's fun. So the extra half shot of Kraken won't hurt it at all.
No, that's a
It's super
quality
watchable.
movie.
My wife came out. She was taking a nap. She got up, came out, saw me watching it, and was upset that I was watching it without her. But yeah, I plan on over the next couple weeks watching the sequel and then the other sequel, and I don't mean the Scorpion King. I mean the Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor as the third one. So that's a little spoiler for what I plan on doing. Who knows if it plans work, but...
Well, here at Painting with Benoff, John, we never hold ourselves to our own promises, because literally,
Exactly.
you know, this is what we do for funsies, guys. So if we don't follow through, it's like, and you guys are always understand that, so that's super cool.
Well, I mean, I get off work at 2 o'clock every day, so 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I should have plenty of time.
There you go.
And another spoiler, Wonky Kong, I don't think the third one is terrible. Spoiler, little spoiler.
There you go.
I'll watch it again to see if my memory maintains. But the second movie is, I'm actually going to preface this with, I have something for you, Brushheads, if you want to see me review movies. If you can find a movie that's on, like, YouTube or Amazon Prime for freeze, and it is about an hour and a half long or so, and in that sort of action-y, sort of sci-fi sort of genre, I don't want any drama, I don't want any horror, that's not really my thing. But if you get in that area, send me the name. I'm going to try and watch one of those movies every week.
There you go.
One random crappy movie on Amazon or YouTube every week. I've got like 4 or 5 in my Amazon watch list. And I started off this week with watching one, just at random out of them. It's called Get Lucky.
Okay.
Spoiler, I did not get lucky because I watched the whole thing. It's a British movie. I took some notes. It looks like I said horrible a lot of times. Anyways, it's a British movie, and it really trying to be a Guy Ritchie movie so hard. In fact, the positive reviews on Amazon are like, oh, you know, these guys are definitely getting the Guy Ritchie thing right. False. They are not getting it right. It is, oh my. It's not bad, though. You can't hate this movie. The problem is there's one really likable character. He's the token British black guy. He's in the movie for maybe 20 minutes total. Maybe.
Was it Don Cheadle?
Oh, no, that would make it even better. That would be like next level.
Don Cheadle's so amazing.
There is no one of note that I saw in this movie. No one of note. Let's see. The basic plot is kind of meh. You know, it's kind of a bit of contrived stuff. The basic plot is palatable. You're like, okay, I see how this happens. The guy comes back to England after his troubles. One of his buddy gets him to help him out with his little caper. It ends poorly. And now the guy's got to get money to pay off gangsters. You know, that's a pretty standard plot. It works. Don't mess with stuff that works. It's meh. And then they add an unnecessary romance where he sees a woman in a bar, you know, when he first shows back up in England, and, of course, he's immediately drawn to her, and, oh my, most unconvincing romance since Padme and Anakin.
Oh, that's some strong medicine you got right there, boy.
They're worse, but this is the worst I've seen since then. You just like, why would you? I don't. No. No. Like I said, one likable character. This is a perfect Jason Statham movie. If you take out their lead actor, or even a good guy kind of bad guy that's in the movie, and replace him with Jason Statham, and you just get a slightly better caliber of actor all around for some of the other guys, you'd have a perfectly palatable 90-minute action movie. With a little caper thing. It'd have been good. But they don't. No one has any charisma to speak of. You're like, I don't like any of you guys. You know, you could all die, and I would think that's okay.
It'd be super cool.
Yeah. So, And then, with 23 minutes left, they do this bullshit twist.
Okay.
And, yeah, they sewed a tiny bit of the seeds in it. You know, there was some random plot thing he said to the girl, some random thing said here, and I put them together. I'm like, oh, I see what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a bullshit plot twist. Didn't need to be in the movie. Didn't. I mean, you're just like... And it turns one of the characters from just like a criminal who's trying to help out his brother to just absolute douche. Like, it's like it changes his entire things from wanting to get rich to vengeance, and he sort of F's over his brother in doing it. You're like, ugh, that's not good.
No, that's really bad.
And then, oh, you think that's bad enough? Already at that movie, I was like, if they manage to pull the last 20 minutes out and make this movie awesome, you know, I'll sing its praises for all time. Nope. Not only that, they added another bullshit plot twist with 5 minutes left. Bullshit plot twist out of nowhere. Just like, I mean, it doesn't make sense. It's just like piling bullshit on top of bullshit. And this one didn't even see coming. There's no way you can see it coming. You're just like, yeah, this is bullshit.
So, in other words, what I'm hearing here is bullshit. We may have used the word bullshit more times in this particular review than have ever been said on this show ever.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. There's one cool moment where one of the guys gets blindsided, hit by a car, and flies out and hits a container and spins around. And it was awesome. Like, that's super cool. That's a great visual. And then he gets back up to participate in the gunfight and all.
Oh, yeah, that's not even remotely possible.
Yeah, I'm out. I was out. Luckily, there was, like, at that point, there was, you know, less than 15 minutes left. I'm like, I'm going to watch it. I'm there.
Sounds like we're staring down the barrel of a good solid 4 shots of Kraken here.
Yeah, well, I'm not even sure it deserves 4 shot of Krakens. You don't want to waste that much Kraken on it, really. But, like, to watch it, 3 definitely, probably 3.5. Because, like I said, there's nothing in this movie that you just hate except for that last plot twist that even kind of makes sense. You're like, I can see it. It's not, like, crazy. It's just, again, it's like bullshit at the time it comes out. You're like, really? You're going to put that at the end? Okay, whatever. The best line in the movie is after that last bullshit. It's the last 2 guys who are there. Well, looks at the other and says, "Well, that just happened." And I'm like, you know, that is the line for this movie. Well, that just happened. So 3.5, 4 shots of Kraken. It's for free on Amazon Prime. If you feel like giving away an hour and a half of your life with a line or 2 and 1 action scene of any import to as return on that, feel free. Otherwise, make a better choice and watch anything else.
So are we going to call this new segment like Brushhead Select or something like that, or do we have a catchy name for the new segment?
I haven't thought of a catchy name. I'm not even sure how many are actually going to decide to, you know, tell me movies. I've got, like I said, 4 or 5 still in my Amazon, including one I'm looking at for maybe not this week or next week when I'm already doing sort of fantasy movies.
Yep.
But I got one. It's called, like, let's see, like P-51 Dragon Fighter or something like that.
Oh, my.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, let's look here. Let's see what it's called. I'll tell you guys the ones I have on here. P-51 Dragon Fighter. Where basically it's Allied airmen battle fire-breathing dragons unleashed by occult Nazi forces during World War II.
Wow.
Hour and 25 minutes. That sounds like a winner.
How did Iron Sky not get a hold of that one?
That seems like a winner. And then let's see what else I have. I have this one called 2035 Forbidden Dimensions, where it's a time traveler Jack Slade comes face to face with gruesome realities of a post-apocalyptic wasteland run by evil doctors infecting the population with a mutating serum. Hour and 27 minutes. I'll give it a shot. And then the most likely of them that seem to be good is called Bomb Squad. And it's a group of siblings discover they have inherited superpowers from their imprisoned fathers. So, hey, that's
wow,
interesting.
You're a stronger man than I am. Just putting it out there.
Hey, I like a good crappy movie once in a while.
I do too, man.
I mean, come on, remember, some of my favorite movies are like Flash Gordon and stuff like that, which by today's standards are pretty crappy movies.
Oh, I love Flash Gordon. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know, maybe that one about the Nazi, the Nazi cult dragons will be pretty cool. Anyway, so.
But they all seem like they have enough potential that they could be awesome, but they're probably not going to be. They could be awesomely bad, though.
So there's a line right there that I never thought I'd say on my own show. Yeah, maybe the Nazi cult dragons thing will be pretty cool. There's a line I never thought I'd hear. Sorry to do that while you're having a beer, because that's bad news.
Oh no, it's IBC Black Cherry, not a beer.
Oh, cool. All right. So anyway, I have to edit this show and get it out tonight. So I better think about potting this thing up, and we better call it an evening, I think.
Absolutely.
Let me go ahead and bring up the music here, because that's what, as we are wont to do on this show. There it is. The dulcet tones that bring us out. The Bob Ross music on the 2-hour loop. In case you ever wanted to listen to that. I made a 2-hour loop of that song. But, John, thanks again. Brushheads, thank you very much. Belinda Librarian, I'll be up to say hi shortly. And then I've got to come back down and edit this show. But thanks to the power of the new computer, that won't be nearly as long as it used to. So on behalf of Mr. John Spencer and the rest of the Brushheads, you guys have a wonderful one. This will be up. If you're a patron, you'll be getting the audio yet tonight of the pre-ramble. So have a good one, and we'll see you next week on the Painting with Menoth John show. Good night.